What's up, my buddy?
Week 2 therapy session for your Florida Gators. Let's get to it.
What is happening here? What is happening here?
We would like to welcome everybody to Talking Ball podcast, or we're going to change it to this week's
Should I lay on the
therapy
couch?
session
Should I
talking
lay?
about the Gators.
Should I lay on the couch?
You might want to after this. So yeah, go ahead and do your normal intro.
What's up, my people? We appreciate y'all Talking Ball podcast. Come on in here and listen to the boys rant about some college football. What up? What's up, my peoples? Nah, for real. What's up, my peoples? I appreciate all y'all for tuning in to another edition of my boy Big L Faro, the L train in the building to talk some college ball. Yeah, we're gonna get right into it with the last week's performance.
You told me you weren't wearing Gator gear today.
You know, I reneged on that because I said, you know what? I'm a Gator, baby. So we're gonna go down with the ship. And I told you that on Saturday. I told you that on Saturday when you were texting me.
Yeah.
For the Grammatica field goal. But no, I was like, yeah. At that moment, I was in the heat of the moment. Like, yeah, screw this team, screw Gator clothes and everything else. And yeah, man.
Go right ahead. I don't have to say anything. I'll let you go. Or you want me to go first?
You know what? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out what. Yeah, you got. You know what? You lead it off, and I'll rebuttal to whatever you got to say. Because I mean, obviously, everybody's been talking about it ad nauseum. So it's several days have passed. So I've got to digest more of other people's thoughts and what is going on and this, that, and the other, and blah 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 blah. So yeah. You go first. You go first.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad all the way around. It was disappointing to see a team that has more talent than South Florida come out and lay an egg. I think a lot of it was on coaching, in my opinion. It was just bad. Like, you just watching the game, and DJ hurt? They said he isn't hurt. He looks bad. The play calling was terrible. The getting on and off the field on defense, like, what are you doing? South Florida runs a no huddle, and you're taking your time. Guys on the touchdown pass to Singleton, you got two DBs looking at the sideline. He runs by them, and you're just watching the game. And I'm not going to lie, I thought you guys were going to win the game even watching it, and I felt like you guys were just struggling when you got down to the red zone and you just couldn't punch it in. And, Billy did the right thing. You take the points. But as the game just went on, when you're 18, 19-point favorite like that, you got to put a team like that away. A good South Florida team. They're not a Power 4 team, but I think they're going to have a good year. They're going to be, even if they lose this week, they're still sitting in a good position to potentially make the 12th seed as the, non-Power 4 team to get in with two good wins, regardless of what the Gator season turns out to be, or Boise State. Beginning of the year, those are two big wins. Like I say, just the coaching, I didn't expect the coaching to be that bad, regress. I mean, we both talked about it from game one. There was a lot Florida needed to work on. And, last week's podcast, we said, how do you go from week 1 to week 2? I felt like they regressed. And even DJ just looked bad. The one play where he missed, there's two receivers with the DB splitting them, the tight ends underneath, just drop it there. There was no really shot plays down the field. Why did they stop running the ball with Baugh and Jackson, who were just eating up yards? I saw a thing today where there was only 3 pressures on Lagway out of 33 dropbacks. And you're just watching the game, and you're just like, what are we doing? And then let's look past all of that before I let you go.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a position, you stop them with 2 minutes left, and you get the ball back. You're going to chew the clock, and you throw the ball on first down. Why? And then you get it incomplete. Second down, you run. So now it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. And instead of getting the first down, you take a shot play, which he could have caught it. He dropped it. So now you give the ball back to USF. Granted, they got the ball at the 11. Defense has been playing pretty good the whole game, and you're figuring, okay, maybe we could get a stop. somewhere somehow, or you keep it in field goal range. You let them drive down the field, and at one point, me and you are texting each other. Just let them score. Well, it was bad. He didn't use the timeouts for like what 30, 40 seconds. It was around a minute where Billy didn't use the timeout, and you're just like, dude, either you got to call a timeout. So they let 25, 30 seconds run off the clock. At that point, I'm like, just let them score, get the ball back with 30 seconds, and you're down 8. And they didn't.
Yeah,
Game.
Jumping onto that part, I was irate in the stands. You could ask Boo. You could ask Boo and David.
I forgot you were at the game, so you had firsthand experience.
Yeah, and we were sitting in that end zone. When they missed the 58-yard field goal, and I'm sitting here, so like, all right, we got the ball now, and you're watching. Mm-hmm. I'm like, we're about to get a effing delay of game right now, y'all. I was like, are you effing?
Yeah.
I was like, we're about to get a freaking delay of game right now. We had to call timeout. Literally after a 58-yard missed field goal, we had to call timeout to get the first play run, which we run, like you just said, an RPO play where allegedly DJ checked out of the run to throw that out route, which was a shitty ball. And like, you don't even give him the option to do that right now. You know, you don't even do that. You run it on first down to at least get one of the timeouts taken off. Then you run it on second down to get one of the timeouts taken off. Then I literally polled everyone around me in the stands. I said, do you throw it right here on 3rd and 8? And they were all like, no, just run it and make them call timeout. And I was like, hell no.
Back up.
Yeah.
Who were some of the people you were sitting with?
At that moment in time, it was obviously Boo, which is Gus Scott's brother, David Harris, our good friend, Todd Johnson, former safety, Florida Gator. OJ Small was right there. Jabbar was sitting right behind me. And it was mixed. But David and Boo were like, run the ball, is what they said.
So the point I was trying to make is you're sitting next to former players who've played the game. So it's not like just the everyday average fan. We won't say Gator fan, South Florida fan. The average fan, you are sitting with former players and you're all talking about the scenario and what you should do.
Yeah. And I was like, I said, you got to throw it here. And they were like, why? Like, you got to get the timeout. I'm like, forget the timeout now. I was like, you got to go execute this play here somehow. Because if you do pick up the first down, you're going to win the game. I was like, if you run it right here, they're going to call timeout. The clock's going to be the same. They just get their timeout. Okay. Like that, I think, picking up the first down was more detrimental at that moment, in my opinion. So you're like, okay. They were like, all right, good point. Because like, sure, you run it right there. They call timeout. There's still, I think it was, I'm looking at it right now, 2:39 was left on the clock. So again, if you would have run it right there, it might have been 2:37. And now they have
first down.
And now they have no timeouts.
Right.
Just the 2-minute warning. Instead they had one timeout and the 2-minute warning. But yeah, if you run it on first down,
you force them to use a timeout.
They literally have no timeouts, just the 2-minute warning now, and you throw it on 3rd down. But again, my point was, well, you already screwed that up. You already screwed it up. So let's execute this 3rd down play. And what's crazy is the play call was actually pretty good. The route design was good. Guess what? Vernell just didn't make the play. DJ maybe.
I kind of disagree with you. I'm cool with a pass play,
right?
I'm not cool with a shot play.
And I mean, I guess
the whole game you hadn't been hitting anything.
I trust. I know,
but I feel like even with South Florida kind of loading the box in different points in the game, you guys were still able to run the football. That's why on first down I was shocked that I was like,
well, I think what happened is,
what are we doing here?
I think what happened is the box they gave numbers to throw. Because I could see it. They were loaded to shut the run down. Like they totally were. But again, you don't do it in that situation. It was a one-on-one out route, but it was crappy execution. It was a bad throw. Like Vernell didn't get open.
It was a lot of bad throws in the game.
No trust. Like that's again going back to the very beginning of it. It's like, you come out and balls rushing for 10 yards of carry on that first drive, and DJ actually throws a pretty damn nice ball in the corner of the end zone, and Livingston can't freaking turn the head the right way, and no catch. Should have been an easy touchdown.
Yep,
right in front of us. I was like 5 feet away from that, and I'm just like, all right, fine, kick the field goal, and then now you're in this defensive barn murder game. You get down again, you have to kick another field goal. it's just too many. I guess more so people love to complain about Billy's play calls. And I was talking to our buddy Ricky Hayden earlier today. We were talking about it. He wanted to call and ask me what my thoughts were. And I was like, I'm podding with Farr tonight, so I'll give you the other rundown after we talk about it. But I was like, everybody wants to criticize Billy's play calling. I'm critical of it too.
But if you execute, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In certain instances, I don't like some of his play calls, but you can't go down all 50 plays and be like, I love everything. There's going to be bad. If you go down everybody's game, you're going to be like, yeah, I didn't love, Shannon Dawson's play call on the series of downs. There's
exactly.
So you're gonna nitpick those 4 or 5 plays that you hate.
Once again, he hits that touchdown where he felt like he wasn't sure if he should get underneath or over where the DB. I think it was like 3.
We scored on that. We scored on that drive still. That was it. No, we scored a touchdown on that drive.
Did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the only. I know. Trust. We should have. I agree. More so, here's the ones you really can't take back. If you hit that first one early, that should have been a touchdown. And then then you got the. How did you feel about the Hayden Hansen offensive pass interference?
That was terrible.
That's what I'm saying. So that's 14 points right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes down to coaching and execution, it's a little bit of both.
100%. And that's where, I think, like I talked about with Dave, what happened in this game was then there was too many, again, you go back to that critical penalty situation, very detrimental time to get, penalties, AKA the final drive of the freaking game where you decide to spit in somebody's face.
Hold on.
2 days after.
Exactly. It literally, if it would have, it's still bad, regardless of spitting on someone, don't condone it. It's bad. But literally 2 nights before, the whole world, as a football player, I'm sure your coaches are highlighting how dumb that was by Jalen Carter to do that. So you had to have known that going into that game. Every player on Saturday, should have known that was dumb what Jalen Carter did.
Yeah. So then, I say,
turn around and do that. You never answered my question. What was worse, that or Shoegate?
Shoegate by far. That was the detriment of the this. You still had a chance to stop them.
Right.
Because guess what? The very next play after that, we give a pass interference call to give them 15 more. Then we let them hit a screenplay for 35 yards. Yeah. They're in field goal range. The game's over.
It's for me, it felt like the whole game, when you look at the numbers, and obviously they only put up 18 points.
Right.
So they were able to extend drives to kill clock, to keep it from the Gator offense. Because defensively, I felt like the Gators played pretty good outside of a bunch of mental lapses.
Yeah, the final drive, and then that busted underthrown touchdown.
Yeah. Why are we doing a hockey shift change when they're an up-tempo team?
Yeah. See, that's part of the issue. That's part of the issue too.
But also they didn't call it multiple times. They could have called it multiple times in the game. I don't know if you went back and watched the whole game, but there were times where the refs, they got away with 2 or 3.
Right. Well, like I say, going back to, again, the timely penalties and mistakes is that's where you accumulate, a poor play call here, a bad execution there. It's 3rd and 2, and you're going to be let's pick up this first down, and you get a false start from your starting left tackle, and now it's 3rd and 7. You get a bad read here, a bad throw there. You get an over the head snap on a freaking punt that gets 2 points. Like I say, it was not in the freaking design of cards. The football god said, no, you're not going to win this game. And like I say, what do we always say on here? As bad as shitty as you play,
you still had an opportunity to win.
Claw, scratch, do whatever you got to do. I don't care. Just find a way to win the game. Yep. And I literally told that to David. I was like, all right, we've gotten to the point now that this is just find a way to get the hell out of here. I don't care what we got to do. And it seemed, I'm telling you, after they missed that 58-yard field goal, there was a sense of a sigh of relief. And then I'm telling you, I was irate when we had to call timeout. I was because I knew then that we weren't going to have 3 timeouts in the event of it something bad happened. Right. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And then we throw it on first down. I'm talking about you, dude. You should have seen us all. It was like, everybody's like, are you effing kidding me? In a sense, it's
I can
like
only
that.
Imagine the swamp.
Yeah, it was like everybody's looking at
It's
like,
bad.
are you serious that we just
Like,
threw the ball on first down?
that's where the inexperience of a quarterback shows up. Because even if a coach calls, it could happen. Coach calls a pass play. You got to be looking on the sideline like, are you sure? Like, you got to be heads up, like the guy from Minnesota the other night in the Minnesota Bears game that's looking at the sideline on the kickoff. I don't even really want to talk about that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
he looks on the sideline because I said kick it out of bounds, take the penalty, you still get two
Yeah,
plays,
I said, why are you not onside kicking it? You
or just
know?
kick it out of bounds, take the
Yeah, no,
penalty
yeah, because you knew
because the
I
clock doesn't move. But
exactly.
back
I
to
knew
the Gator
once.
game,
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like what are we doing? And then, like I say, to end with 30, 40 seconds left, just let them score.
well, see that what it was too was I think they were aware of that, and I think they would have been. I think Golish would have been smart enough to be like, "Do not score."
Well,
Um,
no, on
the
one of
play,
the
the play
Brown run,
they should have let him go on
exactly.
that on the screenplay. They should have said, "Go ahead, man,"
Yeah. I was just like, you
because
just gotta let them
we'd
score.
have had it with 2 minutes left. Then It's
Well,
like,
no, even when it got down to like when Billy didn't
when
call a timeout and South Florida's like, all right, if you're not gonna call a timeout, we're just gonna let the clock run.
yeah, we're just
And
gonna milk this thing. And we'll
yeah,
take 2 more yards, 2 more yards. I was like, yeah, this is like a slow death of a
yeah.
thousand
And
paper
then
cuts, man.
hell, you help him get into the end zone. You usher him into the end zone.
Yeah,
You keep him up and you shove him in there any way possible. I'm talking about the one, even when there were still 20 seconds left, when he got down to like the 3-4 yard line, it's like you try to keep him up and you push him in. Because at that point, you got to do whatever you got to do to get the ball back. Because once they got the first down, you knew you weren't getting the ball back unless they scored.
yeah,
But it was just bad all the way around. Um, I can we now stop talking about DJ being a generational
yeah,
talent?
yeah. Right now, we definitely have to. We definitely have to because,
I'm so sick and tired of hearing
yeah,
how
it's
great he is and him
yeah,
and Arch. Prove it. These kids got to prove it on the field.
100%. I like
Because
Dan,
even if he goes out there and he has a good game against LSU, you got to stack games, buddy.
no,
I
a
need you to
hundred
stack
percent,
games
1,000%. I'm totally in agreement with that. It's like, and
because what
I
you
wasn't
did in
trying.
high
No,
school, I don't care.
we definitely, and me and Dave even talk about it. We've definitely, as Gator fans, we've anointed him because of that's all we hear. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We've anointed him because that's all that we know. So, go back and look at last year. You're like, yeah, he's strung together some games, but
It
ultimately,
wasn't pretty.
no, and he didn't like dominate the games. It was more so
No.
again the run game. The defense was playing better.
Yep.
All those things. He didn't just go and throw for 400 yards every game.
Nope.
You know,
We got it, but it's not just DJ and Arch. It's all these kids. They're putting these kids up on pedestals,
yeah,
and they haven't did anything
a hundred
because
percent.
either they made a great catch, like the kid from Mandarin. He's going to be anointed as the greatest receiver
Yeah,
until he graduates high school,
yeah,
or Arch Manning, he coming from this legacy, or DJ, he broke every Texas high school record in high school. And you know what? Guess what? It's the new level. Prove it on this level.
yeah, totally.
That's
I to- I
it's
totally agree. We
easy to like
we've
bash
done that.
Carson, but guess what? Carson has done it.
Yep.
Carson has won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Totally.
Nussmeier, they can't. He found a way to win in at Clemson. So let's stop anointing these kids like they're the greatest thing ever. And it's fans and it's the
Well, that's
media.
well, prime example. Like I told this, I heard this on Doring did it on the SEC network. The two quarterbacks at the very bottom of the barrel QBR rating wise so far in the first 2 weeks of the season. Dead last, I think, is the kid maybe from Kentucky, but the next guy at 15 and 14, you know who they are?
Probably Arch and DJ.
It's DJ Lagway and Lenora Sellers. You know, like
Yeah, different
Sellers
because Norris brings a different element that they can
totally,
use.
but
They can utilize.
he hasn't lit the world
No,
on
he hasn't
fire
lit
yet
it up
either.
either.
And
No.
so again, we're anointing him as well, but
Yeah.
he's got to do it too. I mean, he at least played last season, but you know,
You
like
got to put it together.
we'll talk about that. Like I think that's gonna be a fantastic game this weekend,
Yeah. Yeah.
Vandy and South Carolina. But
Yeah. I
we'll get
mean,
into that later. But
so before we jump out off the Gators, Billy,
Yeah, no, here's the
What are
thing.
your
We don't
thoughts on
even,
Billy?
we don't even have to talk about it because guess what? It's going to play itself out. Like
For
bottom
sure.
line, like I don't. There's you can't fire him now. You know, we don't want to start talking about the firing train, but you know, yeah, you lose this
All
week in
right.
LSU, you
So
lose
all
next
right.
week into
So
Miami. Yeah, he's going to be
let's
out.
not.
He's going to be out the door. I
What
mean,
what does he need to do to change? And all the pep talk, you got to
we
throw the
need to,
pep talks out the
we need,
window. What
yeah,
do
no
you do?
shit. I don't want to hear we can't like because Dave literally when I did this episode of Gators breakdown with Dave tonight. And he played a soundbite from. What's funny is Dave asked him a question in today's media session,
Yeah.
and like literally Billy like cut him off, dude. He didn't even let him finish the question. He was just asking him like, this is another year of you being 1-1. This is another year of starting the season off with high expectations, and we've already got a loss. And he literally cut him off and was like, the season's not over, bro. And he's giving us all the coach speak, and that's what I expect you to say. But
Yeah.
also, it's again, we are 1-1 out the gate, and this was not one of the games we expected, to lose.
No.
We expected to lose one of these next two games on the road, and maybe be 3-1.
Especially with a tough schedule.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
If they would have won this week and lost to LSU, you still be disappointed. But then you
right,
understand like LSU is probably one of the better teams in the country.
exactly.
And
So,
you don't want to take anything away from South Florida, but at the same time, when you watch the game, it's not like South Florida did anything
they're
great.
not. They're not good. They're not. In my opinion, they're not good. Like, they're not good. So, we'll talk about it when you guys play them here in a little bit too. But no, it's basically what you got to do is you got to go win. You got to go, like you just said it with DJ. You got to go stack wins. So
Yep.
if y'all are backs against the wall, come out with your hair on fire, then you better go win in Baton Rouge. You better go win at Hard Rock the next 2 weeks, and then you better come back and win in Gainesville and beat Texas. Win those three, and then I'll be a believer again. But do I think that's going to happen? Hell no. So do I have any confidence in that happening? No, because you haven't done it ever in your career. You're 20-20. We pointed this out. Guess what? Name a team that Billy has won on the road against that's had a winning record. Zero, none, nada. He hasn't won against anybody worth a shit on the road. So, do I expect us to roll into Tiger Stadium on Saturday night and get a win? No, I do not. Do I think we can play with LSU? Sure, I do. I think we have the talent and the capability, but do I have any confidence in this bunch? The way they're playing, the way that
And even the coaching.
that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe Billy calls the greatest game of his life, but DJ can't throw it worth the damn. Or maybe, we drop balls or we blow coverage. Like, again, there's just too much. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a
Well,
problem.
and then you're depending on where's Trey Wilson?
Yeah. Well,
Where's Mizell? Like, where are these veterans that need to stop
what
him?
this
Like,
is exactly.
if you're taking a shot down the field of VB3,
I've already said here's
come on.
this goes to show you the problem. Like Dallas Wilson, we miss that dude a lot too. We will be relying on Dallas Wilson and VB3 because guess what? Sturdivant, he ain't the guy. Just after 2 games, he ain't the guy. No way. I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Mizell.
Well, if you're taking shots to a true freshman down the field,
that's what I'm saying. You got more confidence in this guy making a play than these guys do. Because guess what?
Even if the argument is, because even if the argument is, oh, they're doubling Trey, like you said, all right, Mizell, it's Sturdivant, where are you?
Yeah.
The other thing is,
I really didn't love our tight ends. Like Hanson's just a big dude, but he's a slow. Livingston, he's slow. The other kid, Amir Jackson, he's like a CI. He's like a Cornelius Ingram type H-back, like flex guy. I like him, but those other guys are better inline blockers, with the run game. And it's just, so I don't love our weapons right now. Like, again, Dallas Wilson was counted on after seeing him in the spring, like, and what this guy could be, instant impact, kind of like VB3 right now. The guys and Trey, he's definitely needs to get more involved. He needs to get more touches.
Yeah.
I don't love some of the play design for him either, but the two guys that have drastically disappointed is definitely Sturdivant and Mizell, and then nobody else has kind of emerged to maybe take one of those spots like a TJ Abrams or a Tank Hawkins. I mean, we're 2 games into the season.
But I still feel like that last drive, you just get into a heavy set and you let Ball and Jacoby Jackson just run downhill, which we know they could do. And even on first down, if you got 3-4 yards, second down. Hey
Well,
boys, let's get another 3, 4.
that's what I'm saying. If you could have got it to a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, then you could have
Yeah,
maybe done RPO, or that could have been an RPO play, or
yeah.
I even said I'd run a screen on 3rd and 8.
No, yeah.
But it was just, again, it's just too many mistakes. Everywhere around, coaching mistakes, poor execution,
Mhm.
non-catches, critical penalties. And again, when all happens, that is a recipe for upset
Have
loss. And that's
we
exactly
heard
what happened.
anything on Buddy who spit? What's
No,
the
and
difference?
that's what I told Ricky. I was like,
He should
I
be
don't
suspended 2
yeah,
games
I don't think
minimum.
he is. I think they said it's gonna
I
be
know
like
they
an
haven't
internal
seen it.
thing.
They haven't
Yes.
said anything, but I'm saying for me, after you saw it, it should be minimum 2 games.
Yeah, like I say, I think they did an internal thing, and I don't know what we're going to see. So I think it is what it is.
Just run at some stadiums and wake up early and move the weights from one side of the weight room to the other side type thing.
Yeah, like I say, I mean it is what it is. It was terrible, um, terrible outcome, but now, like I say, it's what would make this season successful is you go rattle off some of these wins in these next 5 games, which I just don't see happening anymore. But I mean, and hell, we've talked about how the schedule has gotten even tougher with games that we thought were winnable games. Are Mississippi State, who just beat Arizona State, a playoff
Yeah,
team last year, Kentucky, who just banged with Ole Miss for
yeah.
4 quarters. So who's the easiest game left on
And
the schedule?
Tennessee, like I'm not a believer in Tennessee yet, but they've looked good the first 2
Well, shit,
weeks.
Tennessee looks better than those two.
That's
So
what I'm saying. Yeah, we'll find out a lot
no,
about
that's what I'm saying.
Tennessee
Like,
this week,
if
but
that's what I'm saying. We've played 2 games, so we got 10 teams on the schedule. If you were to rank them, 1 through 10 in that section, like, what is the easiest game left on the schedule? I guess it would be Mississippi
Mississippi
State or
State, yeah,
Kentucky. It'd
yeah,
be Kentucky probably, but
yeah.
still,
But it's still a tough game.
now Mississippi State's the ninth. That's a tough game, and it's your ninth toughest. It's
Yeah.
like, so.
Well,
Again, I just don't.
thank God Miami and Florida State played 2 cupcakes this week to give you extra venting time, even though you vented on Dave's podcast probably for an
Yeah,
hour, hour and a half.
yeah, we were on there for an hour today, but I mean, we didn't talk. Just we because we didn't really harp back on the game because he's done that enough with his
Yeah.
guy. It was more so like, what was my thoughts on it, and
Yeah.
what do we think about LSU, and then we talked about a couple of the other big SEC matchups this week. But yeah, I mean, what's crazy is the fact that I hadn't been down there in a couple seasons, just because I thoroughly enjoy watching all the games and being at home and
Yeah.
doing all that. So I was like, let me go down there and let's have a good time. Go. They were honoring G. Scott and the boys from 2025-year anniversary of the SEC championship. So it was cool seeing a
Nice.
lot of those guys.
I bet. It was cool seeing those
I mean,
guys.
like I say, shit, I hadn't seen Lito and Jabbar in 20 years.
Yeah. Is
You
Carlos
know,
there?
Carlos Perez was there, baby.
Hey, my dog.
Kelvin Kite was there. Uncle D. Lee was watching nephew play. He's headed to South Bend this weekend, to
Nice.
watch. So it was, hanging out with my boy Keyone. I've seen Keyone a lot, but I mean, just
all the other guys you haven't seen
yeah,
since
it's
you've been in school.
it was. What was cool was too. I didn't even tell, like we got to go in the damn Gator Walk. David Harris went in the Gator Walk. Like,
God, bet he was fired up.
I mean, it was cool. We had a cool tailgate. Everything was good. We had, row 5 seats, in the end zone. Great, all that. And, it was just like, well, damn, everything was good except for this 3 hours of watching this crap that y'all put on the field, and it's just like, I was just super deflating. And, again, everything. And this is what we said. Everything that the Gators did last year, from that Georgia game after the Texas loss, when DJ came back, we had no, like, we picked the games. Like, Florida ain't beating LSU. Florida ain't beating Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
They get those 2 wins. They get the win against FSU. They get a bowl game. They beat Tulane. Get certain guys come back. They add a few guys in the portal. So there's hope and optimism at the beginning of the year. The schedule's set up to get these first 2 games to get all your kinks out of your system before you really hit the ground. And now all the air just is like,
deflated.
You're just like,
I love it.
I know. I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't love it to see my demise right now? I mean, that's not right. And that's mean. That's mean.
It is. This is a therapy session, sir. I hope you got enough off your chest that you feel a little better going into Death Valley
Yeah,
week.
because I want to talk to you about what you
Mhm.
think about that one. But like I say, we could like I don't even know if we have to even talk like
No.
Florida State and Miami handle business. Like their
Yeah.
offense, like
Hey,
kudos
for
to FSU's. Like hell, I wanted to beat LIU 77-3. You
yeah,
know, so
I watched a little bit of the game. Florida State offense looked really good. They were efficient. Um, Castellanos got in, got some work done, got out. 8 for 11, 237, 3 TDs. You gotta like that. Get a lot of some of those young running backs in there. They played a plethora of guys.
yeah,
I think he was out of the game with probably like 6, 7 minutes left in the first half. So
yeah,
hey, that's what you want.
yeah,
That's what I said after week one. Coming off a big win, you want to improve off of that, get crisp in some of your plays, get a lot of young guys in a game like this. Because the last several years outside of the Jordan Travis year, games like this kind of, they won the games, but it wasn't pretty. Get a pretty win and get ready for whoever. They got a bye week this week. I think it's Virginia
yeah,
next. So
yeah. No, they got Kent State.
Kent State, sorry.
Yeah, then
So yeah, so you get a
they go
bye
on the
week, and
road.
then you get
Yep,
Kent State another tune-up game to get ready for conference play
yep,
because we're
yep,
starting to get into conference play now.
yep. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I say, that's that's all we need to talk about. They look good. They look good. I mean, that's what I expect you to
Yeah,
do to East Texas A&M
yeah,
University, whatever, Commerce.
yep.
Same thing
Canes,
with the Canes. Same thing with the Canes. You know.
yep. They went in. Carson went 15, started off 15 to 15, looked really good. Only complaint I still have is I want to see the big boys up front blowing guys off the ball. But when you're 6'6" across the board, 315, 320, you could just lean on guys and create holes. Um, you know, uh, Bethune kind of ran the play clock down a little bit on a lot of their plays, so that's why the score is kind of 45-3. Could have been bigger. Carson played, I think, 1 or 2 possessions into the second half, but Canes got it done. Now we're on to South Florida.
Yeah. Like I say, yeah, BC they don't impose much will in
Yeah,
that game. So
I
I was
mean,
kind of
even
expecting that. Both
yeah,
of those games you were expecting big blowout wins.
exactly. I mean, for the most part, because you were down in Gainesville,
Yeah.
it was a lackluster weekend. Didn't really watch a lot of the Michigan Oklahoma game. It was kind of boring.
I actually
Um,
watched the fourth quarter of that when I or the second half of that. I
yeah.
had the split TV on when I got home,
Oh,
and
you were home by then? Okay.
I watched the second half of the Michigan Oklahoma game and
Mhm.
the end of that Mississippi State game. And those were obviously two of the better games.
I think it
Can't
was also
Missouri pretty much handled business, which we thought maybe Kansas would hang, and that
yeah.
wasn't. You know,
Was it Baylor? Was it the Baylor game?
well the wild game early was kind of the same as our game, Clemson and Troy. You know, we're in the
Yeah,
stands. I was like, Clemson's playing our game, guys. Look at this. I'm like, look at the
yeah.
score, Clemson. You know, but guess
Oh,
what?
it was Baylor.
They found a
Baylor
way to get out of
SMU
there.
was pretty good,
Oh yeah,
doubled
that was
overtime.
yeah, kick the
Iowa
game
State,
winner.
Iowa. Hey, for the future, always take the under if those two coaches are there.
Yeah,
That was paint and drying as well. And then outside of that, like you say, Kentucky gave Ole Miss a little run for their money,
yeah,
but everyone else pretty much handled business like they were supposed to this weekend. When you look at the scores, they were pretty big. I mean, it was a boring Saturday of football, but I
yeah,
mean, I still enjoyed it. What do you think? Oh, before we move on to this week, what did you think about Fran Brown pulling the Rob Jennings and making guys
yeah.
run after the game?
Yeah, I mean that was pretty funny. It was pretty good. Like you always like he's not happy with the performance. They
A
got
standard.
shellacked.
He said
They
he's
got
trying to set a standard.
yeah, they got shellacked week 1 against Tennessee and they underwhelmed against UConn. So he's trying to implement his style and his play, his standard like of what he expects and like I say, yeah, embarrass them boys. Like like I was telling like literally I went into a rant just a little bit ago, you know, talking about this era of kid. And I use DJ as an example. It's like I don't need DJ to be Tim Tebow. You know, going back
No,
to DJ, right? I don't need you to be Tim Tebow and come up to the podium and give me some speech like I'm going to play every game. I don't need that.
no.
But like, here's the other thing. I always talk about this, and you know this. One of the big things that I freaking hate with coaches, players, I hate demeanor and body language. And I don't need Billy to be Kirby Smart, but I need some kind of fire a little
Yeah.
bit injected in some of y'all. And like, even I don't even know if you heard DJ's.
Natural fire and
Did
passion,
you
not just like you said, not
like, did you see like DJ what he said after the South Florida game? He's like, it's
no,
football. The ball didn't bounce a couple my way. It's football. I made a
media
couple bad
training,
reads. Dude, I don't want
straight
to hear
media
that.
training.
I don't want to hear that. I want to hear I didn't play well today. I made some bad reads. I made some bad throws.
Mhm.
I don't want to hear it's
Accountability.
football. And yeah, it's
You want
like
some accountability.
he allegedly was mad the week before at his performance against LIU, but like, show me that. And so then what the conversation led to was I'm like, this kid in this day and age is different than 20 years ago when, like, I'll just use Gus and
Well,
those guys as an example, and like how they're just giving everything off rip. They got bags, they got Gatorade commercials,
yeah,
they got Jordan commercials. They're anointed as the next best thing ever. So it's like, yes, I know you're working, but like, are you really working? Are you really grinding? Do you really care that you lost to South Florida? Or are you just like,
hey, man,
I still got my bag and
listen, that was me Monday Night Football with my Bears.
mm-hmm,
And I'm watching Caleb, and I'm like, does this guy care?
right?
Does this guy want to win?
Yeah,
Like that whole cute little running around, oh, I'm gonna do this and do that. It's like, my guy, at some point, either you want to be an NFL quarterback or you don't. And I hate to question someone's ability,
right.
manhood, and all of
And
that.
that's
But
yeah,
when I keep watching the same thing every week, and I'm trying to be optimistic, you're in a thread with me and Berg about
right.
but it's like when I'm watching you in the second half do the run around, and it's like, at what point were these young quarterbacks say, I'm gonna be like Tom and Peyton and these guys? I don't want you to be like them, but I just need you to be like smart like them. Let me just throw the ball away.
Yeah.
Me running around does nothing for my team. Let me just throw Trevor Lawrence running around gets you hurt. Just throw the ball away and
Yeah.
live for the next down.
Well,
Like, I don't need you to do all of that.
it's almost too, again, like, again, we could talk about it with the
It's the
NFL guys too. It's
entitlement.
like
Yeah.
well, on top of that, it's like, sure, I know you want to win. Everybody wants to win. We're all competitive, all
But
that.
what
But
are you
like,
doing to want to win?
exactly. Or if you lose, are you really that upset? Again, and this is where the fanatical part comes in with we're fans, right? We live for this.
Well,
And this is too, as me, as like I said, you give me a hard time when the Gators lose, whatever. And like, shit, now as I'm getting older, like some of it's like, I don't even care anymore. It's like, yeah, it hurts at the moment. And
but I
it's like,
think
now it's like, we stink, we're going
but
to lose. We suck.
also like going back to that 2000 team, being able to go down to Gainesville and hang out with a lot of those guys, even after a loss, we still would go out, we still would have a good time and all of that. But you still knew those guys were pissed.
Yeah.
Like, they were mad. They were like, I'm going to go out tonight and blow some steam off, and then tomorrow we're back on the grind.
And think
And the
about
next
too
week,
the
you're going to
margin.
see it.
Think about the margin for error back in that day, where if you lose a game, you're done.
You're
Like,
done.
think
Exactly.
about if this season was like in the old BCS era, we don't even need to talk about the Gators anymore. The season's
Nope.
over. It's like, okay, we still have this gauntlet of games we got to go through, and can we win them? We'll see. But the season would be just slapped, like, done. Like, we're like, there's like, what bowl are we going to? Can we go to the freaking Capital One Bowl? So it's like,
Yeah.
so it's, again, and I'm not trying to like test the will and want
Yeah.
to with all these guys, because of
Or
course
projected on them, but
we're all competitors, but in a sense, like, I don't want to hear your damn coach speak. And like I say, when was the last time you really heard? Like I said, I guess this is a question. Like, when was the last interview or of even an NFL or college guy where they actually got mad and they were like, I'm ready to get back on the field. Yeah, Pavia plays with he plays with some attitude. Yeah, name another quarterback.
Even when after games you've seen him not
That was like,
happy
I
or
guess.
not.
I guess Slaughter. We had a soundbite from Slaughter, and he was talking about Sap. Basically, he let it be known. He let it be known to the guys, like, we're going to talk about this, and they had a players only meeting and all that, jazz. Like, why does it
that's
take
a problem if you're having players only meeting 2 weeks into the season?
Exactly. Why the hell
That
weren't you
tells
playing that?
me
Why weren't you playing that way before that?
exactly.
Why
That tells me there's
why
a
do we have to
lot
get
more going on than the rest of the world knows.
And then what I'm saying too is what I told Dave was, like, just being there. I watched Sap on that last drive, and I could tell he was pissed. I could tell he was like, man, we're about to lose this damn game. We didn't do enough. And like,
but that's a guy
like
playing for something. That's a
exactly.
guy that came back. He got a grade. He came back. He's playing for something because he knows his future, the next step
Yeah,
is
that's what I'm
right
saying.
there. And
You
this
got
is
to
his
put all
interview.
you got to put it on tape. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
totally. So
interviewing the rest of the year. Exactly. And
so
and
that
and that's why he's probably like that, where the younger guys don't have that mentality of like when you think of national championship teams and you don't see it in a lot of teams. Like to me, that Ohio State team from last year, outside of that Michigan game, you saw it, especially on the defense. Hell, you saw it after the game with the flag planting and all of that. Those guys are ready to fight.
mhm.
But you don't, like you say, you really don't see that. You don't like the Tim Tebow thing. People made fun of Tebow. That was just Tebow.
Yeah,
He's just passionate. He wants
he
to win.
he cared exactly.
Cares. You think about Ed Reed. We're not
Yeah,
dominating.
totally.
Even the Florida State
Took
guys,
it all the way to Boston
back in the
College.
day.
Yeah,
So it's just a different era. I think it's
no,
just a different era
it is.
of
It totally is. It
people,
totally is. And that's
kids. It sucks to, like you say, you're not questioning them,
well.
but at
Think
the
about
same
it. Think,
time, you
well,
want
well, think about this. Here's the question. And this is what it is.
your
When
hypothetical.
no.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that. This is basically what I'm saying is you think about 20 years ago, like Ed Reed or a Tebow, like those guys were what hungry, like
Yeah,
because guess what, they just wanted to win because there was nothing else.
that was
Like
it.
how hungry are these guys because they got $1 million in the bank, you know?
Even shit, in college, if I had 10,000 in the bank, I'd be
That, that,
happy.
that's what I'm saying. So like, so you're like, man, I got to go to practice today.
Yeah,
All right, cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you're fat and happy, you get
yeah,
lazy. It's just the nature
yeah.
of like life, you know. So it's just
Mhm.
that's just the hard. So when what we always say, when you're scrounging for crumbs, man, like those are the guy. Like you ain't
But how
got
do you
nothing. You ain't got
how do
nothing.
you as a coach, how do you build that
You're
culture?
you can never
How do
like that's,
you can't
you're never gonna get that back ever. Like
no,
basically how Kirby and
no.
those Saban and those guys, like they're just different individuals in a
Psychologists and
sense.
masterminds and
Yeah,
just
you know,
they because you hear I forgot who it was, a former Saban player talking about like losing is one thing, but to look over to disappoint that guy, to know that, man, it's no telling what we're gonna have to do on Monday. And like he said, I can't remember what player it was. You didn't fear Saban physically because he's only like 5'6",
right,
5'7", but you feared him because of who he was and what he brought to the table, the
right.
stature he had. But like you say, I think even Urban, guys in college feared Urban. They
Yeah,
still did a lot of dumb stuff and partied and all of that, but they knew Urban was, hey, if you're not my guy, you're not going to play. But if you're my guy, you got to come out here and work hard.
yeah. No, for sure. For sure. All right, dog. Let's go ahead and jump in this week. We'll go ahead and do your game first because I'm interested in your take on how you think you guys are going to play, what you saw from USF last week on what you guys think you need to stop the most. What are you most worried about? Or is it just play your game and you guys will be fine?
I think play our game. Get South Florida more 3-and-outs. Get them in the 3-and-out. Get the ball. Move the ball. Finish drives. I think that's the key for Miami's
Yeah,
finish
obviously you saw
drives.
that. Yeah, getting the
Yeah, you got
paint.
to, because I also feel like, not to take a shot at Florida, but I think our offensive line is better than your offensive line. And
What?
if they only got 3 pressures on 33 dropbacks, I expect more blitzing from South Florida probably this week than they did with you guys. But it's on Carson to be efficient, get the ball out, get it to the right players, and then those guys make plays. Jordan Lyle will be back this week. JoJo will be back this week. Armando Blunt. So we're gonna get some weapons back that sat out this past week, which was good. Get those guys healthy, get them ready to play. I think if we could run the ball, like I say, finish drive, put points on the board, and then defensively play sound, play, discipline, but be in the right positions, where last year a lot of games they were out of place. They've been better this year so far, being in place and not getting out of line with motions and different things, and just be able to roll guys in and out because of that up tempo style. But I think we're going to win. I think the line's a little big, to be honest with you.
It's the same exact line where we were at last week. So that's what I'm
Or
saying.
I
Do
don't know
you
if I'm
cover?
giving USF too much credit or what, but I think we could win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. So basically maybe win by 14, but not the 17 in the hook.
Hey, just get a dub, man.
Yeah,
I could care
exactly.
less.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I'd feel
We're in the
after
era
last week.
now with like, yeah, having a 40-point win is great, but I think those days are over of
No,
beating
it
a lot of
totally is.
unless you're playing FAMU, BCC, and
Right.
teams like that. Plus,
Yeah, because South Florida, they're
USF
respectable
has
now.
yeah, they have talent. They don't have power for talent, but they're a little deeper than they used to be. Where their second line, defensive line, is probably going to be a bunch of guys that are like 260, 270. Now,
Yeah,
they're rolling in a little bit more beef.
I do. Like I say, I like their. Going into the game, I liked their defense because it is athletic. That
Hmm.
Orlando is Todd Orlando is the defensive coordinator, and I like his style of play. Like I definitely think they're obviously gonna try to stop the run, first and foremost. So that like if you guys are able to block them, kind of like I say, the Gators opened up the game and were running all over them. And then I
Yeah,
don't know if they made an adjustment on it. We stopped doing it, and but we
y'all
we
just couldn't
also
finish drives.
that's what I'm saying.
Ultimately,
We
Florida just couldn't finish
we
drives.
yeah we found our way out of like 3 and outs. Now on the flip side, in the third quarter, I thought our defense played really well. We held them.
Yeah,
We were getting stops, but they were also getting stops. We couldn't take advantage of stuff. They hit us on that big play. Like the thing with USF is offensively, that's what they want to try to hit one of those explosive plays.
yep,
But really and truly, I didn't love the way we played their trips formation. And me and Boo sat there and talked about it every single time. We were playing a soft coverage and they were getting, a
yeah,
6 yard curl every
yep,
damn,
yep.
first, second down.
They were just extending
Even
drives.
if
That's what
you're
they were doing.
giving, if you're going to give me 5, 6, 7 yards on first down, then
Take it.
guess what? That's where they want to live. They want to live in 2nd and 4,
And think
3rd
about how
and
many he
2.
skipped.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, like I say, they want to live in 2nd down and 3, 3rd and 2,
Yeah,
because
for
then
sure. An up-tempo style offense
because
like that, for sure.
Byron Brown is a good runner.
Mhm.
I don't respect him throwing the football. I don't. So
Mm.
he can hit short pass
Speaking of that,
plays.
it just hit me. How many interceptions you guys should have had in that game with those ducks he was throwing up?
No, I
The
like
one he threw at the beginning that if he puts it on time, it's a touchdown,
well, Devin
and
Moore
there
should
was
have had
3
one.
guys.
Devin
Huh?
Moore should have had one down near our
Yeah,
end for
yeah.
sure. But
Like I said,
yeah,
there was a couple.
he's like I say, when you look at the
He's
numbers,
he's he's a
he was
throwing running
pretty.
back.
Yeah, totally. And they are capable of hitting a big player too, like the screen pass, like the busted
Mhm.
play in coverage. But I just don't think, again, going back to it, I don't think they can block you guys as well. So I think they'll struggle there. So I think you guys are going to do what we should have done and win like 34-14 or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Tackle, tackle.
I
You
just
guys had a
yeah,
lot of issues
like I
tackling.
said, I think again where the game could get interesting is if they are in 2nd, 3rd, and short, because then that's where they can succeed on picking up those first downs to take the air out of the game, to lengthen drives, and that's kind of what they did to us. And that's why, like again, the first half we didn't take advantage of those red
Yeah,
zone opportunities, and the game was 9-3 when it could have been 21-10 or
yep.
21-3, and like
Take their hearts
so
away from them.
it was just like, dude, this game is like so ugly. It felt like it was taking
It
forever.
can't for Miami, it can't be just say 21-17 going in the fourth.
Right. Yeah,
You don't
you
want to
want
give them any
no,
life.
yeah, give them some belief because, like I say, they're feeling good right now. They're playing with house money. They just beat 2 ranked teams.
Yep.
They just knocked the Gators off in the swamp. Like they got to be feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, going into
But
Hard Rock, hell
again,
yeah.
I think reality eventually settles in when they're like, yeah, we ain't got
Yeah. As
enough.
long as Carson doesn't turn the ball over and we can run the football and the defense plays sound, Miami should win this game.
Yeah,
It should be like you said, probably 38-14, 38-17 type game.
that's where I thought the Gators would win somewhere around that 34-20, 34-17, something like that. That's
Mhm.
what I thought. Because when the spread came out, I was like, this could be one of those, like when the Gators were playing, I'm like, I was expecting us to score 35, and I guess if we would have executed all those other plays, we'd have been in that ballpark,
Yeah,
but then they would maybe get a late score, get the backdoor cover.
for sure.
Because like I say, the line's kind of large, so I'm curious to know. But again, who cares, man? Like
Just win.
that's for gambling purposes, and like I wouldn't touch it. Just win the game.
How many years I've
Straight
been
up.
telling you that? I could care less how many they win by. Just win.
Totally. And like I said, that's where I was at Saturday night. I'm like, all right, this game's gotten way too ugly, way too out of hand.
Mhm.
Like, let's figure it out. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. give me your thought process on this game. What do we play inspired ball? Are we able to run the football? Does DJ play better? Does LSU impress you in their 2 games? Yes, they beat Clemson. What are your thoughts with the Gators going to Tiger Stadium Saturday night? Do we have a shot?
There's always a shot because I think Florida still has talent. They still have top SEC tier talent. Going into this game, I haven't really seen enough from LSU to be like, they're just going to come in here and blow the doors off. I like their talent. I like Nussmeier. Their running game, I think if your secondary could hold up and your front 7 could slow down the running game, because I don't think LSU's really got that going the way they want.
No.
I think there's a chance. I still take LSU to win the game. I think in Baton Rouge at night is always a tough place to play. If DJ continues to struggle, it's not going to look pretty. They're going to be coming after him. I can see Harold Perkins, Peyton, and of course your boy going back to the swamp. I mean, playing against his former team, not going to the swamp, but in Death Valley, Pyburn making plays. I like LSU to win by 10, to be honest with you. I mean, because you guys haven't shown me enough to sit here. Even I'm not even counting last week. The week before his game, I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
We should have won. We should have won 70-0 for sure.
Yeah, like what do we do if we can't blow off LIU at the 2-yard line and get in the end zone easy on the first 2 plays? That tells me there's more problems than there should be. And then who's going to step up at wide receiver? If we, I say we like I'm on the Florida team. But if we got to depend on true freshmen, unless it's Jeremiah Smith coming out there to dominate a game, and I'm not taking any shots at Dallas Wilson or VB3 or any of those guys, but I don't think they're Jeremiah Smith. And if you got to depend on that means there's more problems in that wide receiver room, because even with Jeremiah Smith, he still had veterans around him last season. So I like LSU to win. I could see it being like I'm going to say like 35-24, 35. Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Damn. So you're expecting them just to explode for 35 points when they haven't scored that all year?
I think they will at home at night.
They couldn't do it last week against La Tech. Yeah. No, I don't think they're going to score 35, but I think it's going to be more of a low scoring game. But no, going back to what you said, as far as them running the football, they've got issues. They haven't been able to run the ball like they want to. I was like I say, the other thing too that's been killing them in the first 2 games is I think they're like 120 in the country on having explosive plays.
I think they're going to get that right. I think they're going to get that right. I like their skill guys, and I like Nussmeier.
They had 2 in this last game against La Tech. 2 runs. They had a 48-yard run and a 43-yard run. But if you take those runs away, they only rushed for 37 yards against La Tech last week.
I think they want to throw the ball, to be honest with you. I think Brian Kelly just wants to throw the ball.
Like I say, Nussmeier threw it 41 times in that game.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what I think they want to throw to open up the pass.
But what's wild is he threw it 41 times.
The run. Throw to open up the run. That sounds.
He threw it 41 times, but Nuss only threw for 237. It's not so. It's like you just throwing check downs. Like like I said, I didn't watch any La Tech. I just know. I know people in LSU are kind of not happy with the way the offenses started out, because obviously week 1 you take that win, you beat Clemson, they're a top team.
Yep.
But you only score 17 in that game. We talked about how Clemson kind of did anything and everything they could to kind of give that game to LSU. I don't know. When I was talking to Ricky this morning or this afternoon, we were just kind of like, everybody's just anointing LSU like they're just the best team in the SEC. And
this, that, and the other. I don't think they are. But.
And I don't like I say, I'm not overly buying what they're selling yet, and like what have they done in the last couple of years, even under Brian Kelly, so yeah, you can believe in Nussmeier. I mean, he's been there for 28 years. He was there when Jaden Daniels was playing. Like I do
for this week, I believe them.
Week. No, well, like I say, that's counting on like say Florida basically doing what they did last week. And this is where I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to have a Florida-Tennessee game like last year. I think Florida's going to come in and play good ball. They're going to play inspired. It's going to be back and forth. Like I think the MO needs to be just like last year. Let's try to run the football like we were able to. I think Ball had over 120 on him last year. Jacoby had some big runs.
Well, that's the thing. They got to commit to the run.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's where I'm hoping Billy's like, all right, let's
I
commit to
mean,
the run.
you had 24 carries between your top two backs. Sometimes you got to just say, I mean, Ball had 18 of the
Yeah,
24.
and he had 6 on the first drive, so he touched it
So
12. He touched it 12 times after that. I just
it's
think,
poor coaching.
yeah, no, well, like on top of that, again, when you can't extend drives, you don't get the opportunity to run the ball.
But I feel
Run
like
run plays.
you cut the run game out if South Florida was up 24-7, then I understand why you're not
Right.
giving them the ball. But it's a close game. It's like, let's lean on our strength. Let's lean on our offensive
Well,
line and running game.
that's ultimately what we thought was going to happen. Even if DJ's not right, if DJ's hurt, is DJ like what's going on? Is he not himself? Is
Right.
he? What do we think we're going to do? We're going to say, all right, let's lean on this run game. Let's lean on this offensive line. Yeah, ball
Yeah.
rush.
The reason
Yeah,
why I guess
we
I
didn't
picked
really
us.
run all over him. Actually, Ball
No.
had the big 55-yarder. We only
Right.
rushed for 100 on him, but DJ was pretty efficient, and like the stats were about the same. It was just
I
like from
think the
last year's
LSU
game.
defense makes the difference.
Yeah, I think their defense is much improved
Yeah.
from last season, and that's where can we run the ball? Can we create some run to basically set up DJ, maybe taking some shots or just hitting some plays downfield?
And
But
not giving
again,
up big pick sixes and stuff like that either.
no, well,
You know?
here's the only problem. DJ's only completed 2 passes over 30 yards, in the 2 games,
Mhm.
and I think they were both in the LIU game because it wasn't last week. Well, no, he hit the one last week, so he's got 1 for 1. But
Yeah.
again, I think we're in a Tennessee mode where the game's going to be back and forth. It's going to be tight. We're going to be like, all right, we got a shot to win this game. It's either going to be A or B. We're either going to have to go on a drive to go down to win it with a kick or a touchdown. And do I have the confidence in that we're going to be able to do that? No. Or B, we're going to be on defense up with a chance to make a stop to win the game. And Nussmeyer and boys are going to go right down the field and either get a late touchdown or a field goal
So you
to
think
win
it's
it
gonna
going
be
away.
closer than 7.5?
I think it's gonna be a close game. I definitely would take the points, and I definitely think we're gonna be in it until the end. But I don't have the confidence in us making the plays on offense or defense to win the game.
Yeah.
If it's up to the defense to get a stop, and say we're up and they got the ball just like South Florida did last week, and we're up 24-20, and LSU's got the ball with 3 minutes. I think LSU will go right down the field and win the game 27-24, or vice versa. If LSU's up 23-21 and we got to go down and get a field goal to win the
Mhm.
game, do I have confidence that Billy's going to call the right plays or we're going to execute and go down and win the game on a game winning? No, I don't. So I think that's how I feel like the game will be because I think we're going to play. I think we're going to play good. I just for some reason I just do. I don't know. And then I'm not overly bought on the way LSU's come out in their first 2 games. So but again, I don't think we're going to win the game, but I think we're going to play good ball, and I think we're very capable. And like I say, I have confidence that the defense can keep us in games, and we can go back to rely on like what we watched this team. We beat this basically team last year. They improved upon some of their guys, but it's still
Mhm.
the same LSU team. I mean, who did they get? To improve upon majorly? Yes, Pyburn. They added some receivers, but they had good receivers last year too. Same back, same quarterback. Their offensive line is worse, allegedly. So being at Tiger Stadium is the great equalizer. This is the first
Yep.
road test for,
I mean, they're plus they're
non-communicative offensive
truly,
line.
but I think they're truly battle tested as well too. You know,
Yeah,
it's
you got to play
they
Clemson for
played
sure.
against a way better defensive line at Clemson than
Yeah,
they do at
totally.
Florida this week. So we'll see. You just hope, as a Florida fan, you just hope it's a good game and they correct a lot of things. As a casual observer, I think, like I said, LSU is going to win, and I am curious to see, can Florida finish drives? How does DJ look?
Yeah,
Those
no,
are the two things
and that's what
you
I'm saying.
really want to see this week.
I would expect that from you as a casual observer to the Gators, you as a Hurricanes fan, whatever. Like anybody watching would be like, who in their right mind would pick Florida to win this game?
Yeah,
Not a lot of people. I guess the line has been bet down a little bit, so
yeah.
they're giving some money to the Gators, obviously.
Yeah, that's why I
Um,
said I still think LSU wins by 10.
yeah, and like I say,
Yeah.
that's not even out of the realm of
No,
possibilities.
not all.
That's because it could be a 3-point game and they score a late touchdown and win by
Yep,
10.
yep.
So it's like I'm just hoping that we play the way I think we're capable of playing, and going into this game, whether or not we would have won that game, last week in ugly fashion. Would you pick the Gators if we would have not allowed them to go down the field and score?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I think you still would have picked us to
I
lose.
think
That's
I
what
think it would, no, I think it would have been closer. I think LSU is just a better team than Florida. Like right now, I think what I've seen, even if you guys would have won, I still think LSU would have been a better team. If you guys would
yeah,
have won by one,
that's what I'm
I
saying.
still would think LSU is a better team.
I know that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So that's where
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't matter even last week. It's like
right.
if the Gators would have got a stop or converted that third down play and won the game,
But you know,
you still would be like LSU's going to win by 10. I
yeah,
mean,
but
I just
the
because
positive is conference play starts for Florida.
yeah,
Even if you lose this one, you win your conference games. You still have an opportunity. They still have an opportunity. I don't think they're going to win the conference, but
no, hell no.
if you're Billy, you're sitting there like, hey, our goals are still in front of us. That's just a little minor speed bump. Now, if they lose this week, the goals get a little tougher. But once again, you're only 0-1 in conference, not
Yeah.
0-2. So we'll see this week how
Well,
they come out and play.
this was my hypothetical I threw out to Dave. What how I asked him how he would be feeling if Gators get a win at LSU, they win it somehow, some way. And I said, what if South Florida beats Miami? What's the temperature in the room? Like, are you like, oh well, we beat LSU and then South Florida beat Miami, you know?
Mm,
And I think part of it too is you'd have to still go on the road the following week and beat Miami
yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
you know. And that's kind of what he was like. He
I
was like,
mean,
well, we
who
still
who
lost.
bounces back quick, you
Well,
know?
we still lost to South Florida is basically what he said. And I was like,
Yeah,
it's true. You
yeah,
know, we'd have to go beat LSU and Miami
yeah.
to maybe make that South Florida loss not feel as bad, and then the Canes would have two losses. You know, they would
Exactly.
lose to
Yeah,
and that's where you might feel different in 3 weeks. But
yeah,
you
exactly.
know, but like I say, it's just one of those like it ain't gonna happen. But I guess anything is possible. The Gators could win. Who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe we will. I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Knowles on the bye week, so we don't have to talk about them. You know,
That's right.
just get ready for their next big game against Kent State or whoever
Yeah,
they play.
go Kent State Flashes. Yeah, but no. But yeah, there's a couple other big time games this week that I'm kind of
It's a nice week. It's a
it's
nice
it's
week.
it's a pretty nice week for, coming back from last week, definitely.
Mhm.
I guess what is your favorite matchup besides the 2 games? Yeah, I'll let you pick your first one because I know we
First
got
one,
yeah,
Clemson at Georgia Tech.
alright.
I know Clemson's favored by 3.5. Georgia Tech's that pesky team no one in the ACC really wants to play because they're going to be sound. They're going to be disciplined on both sides of the ball. Is how many shots does Haynes King take from Peter Woods and Parker? You know, can they protect him enough? Are they going to make him run the ball 15, 20 times in this game? And can they control the clock? Because Georgia Tech's going to want to control the clock and run the ball and be efficient and, keep it close and have an opportunity to either win in overtime or kick a field goal. And on the flip side of that, Clemson, what do they do on offense? Like, you can't be down 17 nothing to Troy. It's just unacceptable if you're Dabo and the boys and you're talking about this is our year to get back to right the ship and say we're Clemson championship level Clemson. In this game, I think I would lead with Clemson to win, but I expect Georgia Tech to make this a pesky game as long as they don't turn the ball over. If they turn the ball over, it could be a blowout. But I think as long as Georgia Tech doesn't turn the ball over, it could be a tight one going into the end of the game.
Yeah, I took Georgia Tech in the points on the, pool just because I was like, I'm just gonna take Tech just because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to because I feel like, they play good ball in Atlanta. Yeah, Clemson's kind of left a lot to be desired to start the year for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
For all the talent they got back, it's just kind of like, but I
Yeah,
mean,
because
they're definitely capable of flipping a switch in a sense too, and winning the game in decent fashion of them handling business. So it's not like I just went with the upset, just because I mean, hell, the line's only 2.5, so I mean, it's pretty tight.
also it moved. It was 3.5 earlier.
Yeah, it's
But
Clemson's favorite about
like
two and a half.
their first two games haven't been overly impressive.
No,
You had the game in hand against LSU and you let it go. And then, like it said last week, you got the W, but you can't be down 17 nothing to Troy. Like
yeah,
that's inexcusable. You got the W. I think it was like what 46-17 or something like that. So that means you
no,
had to roar back.
I think
And
they won like 27-16.
was it 27? Okay.
Yeah,
I know they took the lead. I don't remember the final, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Um, But yeah, you got to come out and you got to. And it's ACC play. Once again, we're in conference play now. There's still some, non-conference matchups, but for the most part, you're in ACC play. So the margin of error for Clemson, even just getting into the playoff, could be crushing with 2 losses. Because
Yeah.
if you get to the conference championship game and then you lose, and that's a third, you could be out, totally out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Like I say, that it's not a game to screw around with, but like I feel like Clemson should win the game, but
Yeah,
like I say, I'm going G Tech just for the upset purposes
yeah, I
only.
got
But
you.
I think Clemson probably wins, but hell, I'm going for Georgia Tech. How about that? I hope Clemson loses just because
Yeah.
screw Clemson.
Who you got? Who's your game of the week? I already know who it is, but I'll let you say it.
Georgia Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah, Georgia Tennessee. That looks good, man.
It's
But
an intriguing game because we just
it's
don't know.
either team, in my opinion. Like, yeah,
You're right.
Tennessee played Syracuse, but we've seen Syracuse. Obviously, they kind of
Yeah,
shellacked them, and then saw Syracuse struggle with UConn last week.
yeah.
Obviously, Georgia hasn't played,
And they
Marshall,
haven't
and
really been throwing the ball. They just
they didn't
been,
they didn't look so good offensively against Austin P.
yeah.
So, hey, Joey Aguilar, welcome to the SEC, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I
So,
was thinking. Hey,
um,
it looked pretty the first 2 weeks, but
well, like I say, here's another stat for you. In the last Georgia Tennessee series, how many do you think Georgia's won in a row?
maybe 2. No, I'll say 4.
8.
Yeah, I believe it because
And
I'm thinking
they,
you thinking about the last 7, 8 years. They pretty much only lost to
yeah,
Alabama
yeah, and they
for the most
every
part.
every one of those 8 is a double digit win too.
Yeah,
So
I want to see Gunnar Stockton. I want to see what
I
he's
agree.
about
Yeah,
because from everything I've seen with Georgia, it's pretty much just been him running the ball or little short passes
yeah. I'm
for
gonna
the
roll
most part.
Georgia. I'm gonna roll Georgia to win
Yeah,
just because
I,
it's
I
the
would.
G,
Yeah, same.
and I think it's
You got to
I
show
think
me Tennessee.
I'll take Kirby Smart
Oh
defense
yeah,
over Joey Aguilar and Josh Heupel, in my opinion.
yeah.
I
But
mean,
we'll. Yeah,
and guess what? It's going to be like we said with all these games. It's going to be shown. We're going to get to watch it, so we get to
yeah.
see
Because I think for a lot
maybe
of these
Joey
teams,
Aguilar and Josh Heupel are like that. And if they do, then we're
'cause,
like, hey,
just
nice.
watching these games, it feels like we still don't have a pulse on a lot of these teams and if they're good,
No,
if they're bad.
no, but
Hell,
that's a game
some
like
of these
this will tell you
kids,
that, which is
yeah, but
good.
some of these kids might middle of the first couple weeks just decide to transfer and just leave, and that could be a blow to your team. Like, oh, we're not playing good, or we're out of the playoff, or whatever.
Let's-
And who gets in sync fast? Who's offense? Because it has been weird. Because like another game, Texas A&M and Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame's only played one game,
Yep.
and Texas
Yep.
A&M's played what, 2?
Yeah.
So like,
But they haven't played nobody in their two. That's the
yeah,
thing.
but I rather play nobody and get actual reps than versus Notre Dame. They played an opening night, opening weekend game, which they lost, on not a last second field goal, but an end of the game field goal to lose the game. And then you had a bye week.
All right.
So
Well,
they're
let's jump
still
in that
getting
one.
in rhythm.
Let's jump in that one because that was the next game to talk about. So who you got?
I like Texas A&M.
I like Notre Dame. See, there you go. We're different for
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
I,
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 you like who? Marcel Reed and
I like
defense.
Marcel Reed and,
Yeah,
and, and Le'Veon Moss at running back. I think the offensive line's really good. And if I think Miami's offensive line, I think as a whole is probably better, but I think Texas A&M's offensive line is more physical when it comes to the running game, and I could see them running the ball. And we know Texas A&M defense is going to be hard nosed, and they're going to be disciplined, and they're going to hit. Now
yeah.
on the
No,
Notre Dame side, can they get Price and Love going?
I think that's what they're
That's
gonna.
key.
That's the thing. They're gonna have to sell out, in my opinion, to get Jeremiah Love going.
Yeah,
And I think that's will be the game plan. Price looked good too in the Miami game. I think he looks like a good back. I think it's going to be a low scoring defensive
yeah,
slobber knocker
see
because
that. Yeah.
I still, obviously, again, I said coming into that Miami game, I want to see what this Notre Dame defense looks like because we know that Freeman's going to have a good D. So I think both defenses are going to do really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to how good does CJ Carr play in his next game. Obviously, the
Which
game
young
being
quarterback can
the game
manage the
being
game.
the game being in South Bend definitely will help, so he didn't have to deal
Yeah.
with like crowd noise at like Texas A&M, College
Mhm.
Station. So I don't know. I feel like Notre Dame gets it done. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a super tight game, super close game. I don't know if what's the line. I think it was like 6.5,
Six
maybe.
and a half when I saw
Yeah.
it
So
earlier.
I'd probably take the points.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, six and a
It's
half.
which
I think Notre Dame somehow gets a tight, close win.
yeah, which young quarterback manages the game, puts the team in the right situations? Can they run the football? Both teams want to run the football, and both teams want to play great defense.
Hmm.
Now it goes in. Does Marcel Reed have a bad fumble when he's trying to run the ball? CJ Carr, do you throw a bad pass when it looks like they're giving you an out and the DB's backing off, and then he jumps the route and goes pick six? So it comes down to those two things of which quarterback plays good, and who doesn't turn the ball over. I know that's every game, but I like Texas A&M because Marcel Reed has just more starts under his belt.
Yeah, no, for
Even though
sure.
CJ Carr looked really good in the Miami game, but
He
like I
definitely
said,
got better as the game went on, for sure.
yeah. But then having that week off, I would have probably liked Notre Dame if they had a game just to iron out some kinks.
True. No, that's definitely plausible for sure. What sucks is the best games are all on at the same time, man.
Yeah,
The Gator game's on at 7:30. Texas A&M, it's on at 7:30. The Vandy, the game I'll talk to next, Vandy at South Carolina is on at 7:45. At least you get the 3:30 Georgia Tech or Georgia Tennessee, and you get the Tech Clemson game at noon. But yeah, I guess that would probably be my last game. The Vandy at South Carolina. What do you like? You like Sellers at home? Can Pavia win on the road? What are you thinking? Like they both
oh,
have they got a both common opponent, and Vandy
oh,
kind of waxed. They kind of
yeah, they
waxed
did.
VTech in
Yeah, they did.
Blacksburg.
Yeah, they did. Whew. I like South Carolina. I just think it doesn't all have to be on Sellers, and even if he doesn't throw the football, he's good enough of an athlete to run it. And I like the defense for South Carolina to slow down Vandy's offense.
Yeah, I like South Carolina game just because of that Williams Bryce, but I'm rooting for Vandy, and I think it's gonna be this might be the best game of the day. I think it's gonna be a
Possibly.
shootout. I think Vandy's gonna give them problems. Like that offense is gonna give them problems. I want to see where South Carolina's jump is because South Carolina, like it was weird. I was talking to you, like was there like a delay? I was like, why is this South Carolina State game still on at like
Yeah,
11 o'clock?
it was delayed.
So it's
There's
like,
a lot of delayed games. The Clemson game was delayed in that region. All the games in that region were pretty delayed.
yeah,
That
see, it's
South
crazy.
Carolina, North Carolina region.
This is what's wild when you do a box score reading. Like,
It tells you nothing really.
well, like I say, this was Sellers' day last week. He was 11 for 19 for 128 and one touchdown, and they only ran for 125 yards. So you're telling me they didn't have 300 yards of offense, but they put up 38 points. So that tells me that they got short fields. Uh,
Defense.
did they get a defensive score? I don't even think they got a
No, I'm
defensive
saying their
score.
defense
Yeah,
probably
yeah, yeah, yeah.
had one of those games.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah. There's I got four more games that are pretty intriguing to me. Just rattle through them. Arkansas at Ole Miss.
oh
I'm
yeah,
just
definitely. I forgot about that one. That was
Ole Miss doesn't.
you talk about explosive plays. Those are number like 2 and 3 in the country, and
Yeah.
explosive plays.
Taylor Green. The Arkansas offense is a fun offense to watch of a team that's not like in the top 25. Ole Miss is favored by 6.5. It's at home. Can they slow down Taylor Green? If they can't slow him down, take the over. There's going to be some points scored. I still haven't really watched Ole Miss yet. I'm intrigued to watch them. They haven't really played anyone the
I'm a
first two
double.
weeks, so I may peek in that
And that
game.
game's at 7 o'clock too, man. Dang.
Is it?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
I
They're
guess
all
I'll
the
be
night games.
I guess I'll peek it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Three other quick ones.
Who you
K-State
got?
at Zona. K-State is imploding. How are they favored in this game? I don't know. Um, Backyard brawl, Pitt, West Virginia. Your boy Cade Bell. Can they put up some points and win at West Virginia? And then the last one, the going home for Darren Mensah, Duke at Tulane.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting. Like everybody was picking Duke as their upset special last week against Illinois, and they got
Waxed.
shellacked.
Yeah.
Illinois came and did business.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just curious to watch it just to see him go back to
yeah, no,
Tulane and how they
no,
treat
for
him.
sure, for sure. And that's gonna be a tight game. If the spread's only Tulane's actually favored being the home favorite 1.5 points, so it's basically a pick 'em. No, that'll definitely be an intriguing game because Duke. It's not like Duke's a playoff team, but they can, 2 losses to start the season. When you had high expectations, would be shaky. That's also an 8 o'clock kick. Let's see, what time is your backyard brawl?
While you're looking that up, Colorado at Houston. At Colorado, the reason why I put this on mine
That's a Friday night game too. Oh yeah, the K-State. Those are 2 Friday night games. Colorado, Houston is a 7:30, and K-State Arizona is a 9 p.m. Friday night special.
Has skipped the true freshman, and he benched Salter, so now he's going with the third string, Ryan Staub at quarterback. So he looked pretty. I mean, they played Delaware last week, but he looked decent against Delaware, and he's getting to start this week at Houston.
I didn't even realize they did that too. I'm looking at the numbers here.
Which one?
Staub. They basically said, "Sorry, Juju."
Yeah, he moved the offense.
I mean, what's crazy is, because Salter was 13 of 16 for 100 yards, but the other kid, Staub, was 7 for 10 with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Salter hasn't looked right in that offense so far.
Yeah. I think, Houston's been playing some good D with our old D coordinator, Mr. Austin Armstrong. They've been playing a little fiery defense. So
they got Connor Wegman, or not Wegman, whoever.
That's it. They got Connor.
Is it Wegman? Okay.
Yep. I mean, they played Stephen F. Austin and Rice, so this will be a test because Colorado did look pretty decent against Georgia Tech. So I'll roll Dion. I'll roll Dion primetime. Primetime.
What's your hypothetical before we get out of here?
It was that scenario of like what is the Gator temperature? Or no, it was actually South Florida. They say they lose to you guys, but and you already alluded to it. Actually, you already said it. Can they get into the damn college football playoff? Because if you go look at their schedule after Miami, it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I do have it up. So they play you guys, and then they're in the American. But they play South Carolina State, Charlotte, North Texas, FAU, Memphis, UTSA, Navy, UAB, and Rice.
Don't get blown out by Miami and win out. There's
and then potentially they would have to play, because they're not playing in the regular season, would be the team we just talked about, Tulane. That's the other team that would be in that conference that maybe because Tulane's got Duke, and then they play Ole Miss next week.
Yeah.
So Tulane
if you're South Florida, you're hoping Tulane at least wins
out. You're hoping that they lose to Ole Miss. You hope that basically your one losses are Miami and Ole Miss, and you win out, and you're both 11-1 and ranked going into the.
You're both like 16, between 16 and 21, both 11-1. The winner of that would be your group of 5, probably.
Yeah. And what's crazy, that we were already like, dang, we're already throwing out college football playoff scenarios in week 3.
But I think when you look at their schedules, if South Florida continues to play good,
very winnable.
Yeah, it's a winnable conference.
Yeah, and then like I say, what if they were to upset you guys and win 4 or 3 straight ranked games? You know what I'm saying? Then it's just like, don't screw up.
They're in. They're a shoe in.
Yeah,
no, seriously, they're a shoe in. They go undefeated. You can't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I don't think that's going to happen, but they definitely got a shot if they run the table after the Miami loss, and if they play a Tulane team that's got 1 loss or whatever. Because we were thinking about who is even a viable other. Boise's not that team this year, so it's like, who else are you going to pick from? It would only be him. I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess somebody could come out of nowhere like a Navy, not even Navy, because they look bad too.
Well, Navy's in the same conference as
they would have to play each other
in South Florida. Yeah,
exactly. They're all in the American. So I feel like that's what I'm saying is I feel like that G5 team is going to come from the American, not the Mountain West.
I can see that
because Boise. I mean, who else would you think could come out of the Mountain West? Anybody? Like who's the next best team? Who's going to win the Mountain West? I guess is the question. Let's see. It's going to be Dan Mullen, the Fighting Dan Mullins.
Hey, they're 3-0. They're 3-0 right now. I mean,
Yeah,
Orgy's out for the year.
yeah.
So
But yeah, no, it's like I say, we don't need to break down the Mountain West Conference or the American like we did the American. That's enough. But
no love. No
no love.
love from
We don't need
Andrew.
to. We don't
No
need to talk about
love.
it. Well, maybe if you run some tables and win some games. So
I mean, looking at UNLV's schedule, if they beat you, they did beat UCLA.
yeah, they did.
That's a very winnable conference.
No, it definitely is.
So, yeah, I'm glad to see you're smiling a little bit after the therapy session earlier. Even though I was a bad therapist, I
Like I
just
say,
wanted to let you vent.
I'm actually again, and this is I guess the nature of being a loser for the last because like I was saying, the
If we would have did
Gators
this podcast on Saturday, though, it'd have been totally different.
probably so.
Oh God,
I mean, but you know what? It was what's weird was even on the ride home, like me, Boo, and David were breaking it down and just talking trash, but it was just like I guess part of it too is like deep down inside, like, didn't I expect this to happen, man? Like Billy he's shown us this every single year. So like, why am I surprised? You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason to start breaking down head coaching candidates like they've already started doing with
no,
John
that
Gruden.
I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
no.
to hear
Here's the
people
thing.
talk about it, like,
There's
come
no
on.
point. There's no point in firing them today. Like
But with that being said, if you're the AD, you got to open that drawer. The only person that needs it, two people, the AD and the president. You open that drawer and you do look at that list because every AD should have a
yeah,
list
no,
of
that's
guys
for
in
sure.
case you have to fire a guy or in case your guy leaves.
Here's the thing. Honestly, I have a feeling we're going to be firing them anyways, but we don't need to talk about it now because
No, 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 no. I
it's
know
going to play. It's going to
that's
play
what
itself out. It's going to play
yeah,
itself
that's why I
out.
say only person that really needs to worry about that is the AD, and he needs to just look at this list and be like, okay, this guy's still hot. This guy isn't, because I'm sure he hasn't looked at that list since after the Ole Miss, the Florida State game.
Right.
He probably hasn't. He probably updated it once, and then, but that'll be the right thing to do in those positions. You do that with all your sports. You evaluate them as the season goes on.
Yep. You're right.
But as a
Totally.
fan, you can't. 2 weeks in, you can't be talking about.
No, like I say, there's no point. There's no value for
Now,
even
if they get blown out this week, next week in Texas, totally different story.
That's what I'm saying. That's when you start talking about it, But like, that like there's no point now,
Yeah.
And again,
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
it's probably I would do
But
it.
when that day happens, we got to get our list.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've already started compiling one. I
Oh,
mean,
I bet.
I mean, it's still the same guys that were on last year's list, so it's just like it hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
Like what's sad is
You can't hire John Gruden.
oh hell no, no,
Like, what are
no,
we doing? We're just
no,
throwing names
no.
out there.
Totally. Like I say, number one guy still on my list. Who would it be? Who would it be? If I was to give me who you think I'm thinking of. Like, I guess here's what you got. Here's what you have to think of. There's a guy I would totally want. I don't think it's feasible, but there's a guy who I would be like, yeah, I'll take him.
I think Lane's still on your list.
There you go. That's my number one pick.
That's
what I got.
I think.
I mean, no, my number one would be Dan Lanning, but we ain't getting Dan Lanning. But that's pipe dream.
I think he'd be crazy to leave Oregon.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. Pipe dream.
I think how you would have got Dan is if Oregon stayed and if the Pac-12 was still around.
I agree with that because then he'd probably want to be in the SEC, but he's in the Big Ten now. It's still Oregon. There's no reason.
With the resources they have and the money the Big Ten gives out and the schedules they have.
Yep.
I think if he gets a national championship, I could see him saying, I want to get back to the SEC.
Man,
But because there's never been a championship in Oregon. There's never been a national champion in Oregon.
Yeah, no, totally.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's pipe dreams.
Will be in flux.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured Lane was still your number one.
Yeah, I mean, who else would it be, honestly? After that,
exactly.
Yeah. You want to go hire Eli Drinkowitz away from Missouri?
No.
Exactly. No.
I got one for you. Nah, he would never leave that school. No. What about your boy out in Arizona State?
Oh, Dillingham? Yeah, he's definitely gone up my board. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because he's a young, hot coach who's been successful. Like, again, like if you think offense, I would definitely, Dillingham definitely has gone off the board because, I mean, again, who else are you going to name? You're just going to name all these retreads again. Like,
what a guy I think kind of slipped through y'all's fingers. not slip through your fingers, but intriguing. It would have been an intriguing hire. Would have been Mike Elko.
Right?
Because Florida had I know he doesn't seem like a Florida coach,
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
but you
Like I
know
say
what you're
again,
gonna get.
well, the other guy, I'm super high on, but he has no experience at all, who I think is going to be the next best one, like a Dan Lanning, is Schumann at Georgia. Like I
Yeah.
don't I feel like he procedurally will get it as a head coach. He will hire the right assistants and
So
then kind of culturally build what was at Alabama, what was at Georgia, what Lanning's doing at. But I mean, he's Kirby's guy. But
I
again,
was gonna
I don't think Gator fans would like that.
so that's what I was gonna ask. If you were advising Schumann to say he calls you up, hey Sponge,
Right.
I want to become a head coach. Should I go to Florida or should I go a lesser team? I'm trying to think of a team. Not a Purdue or Kentucky, somewhere in between Florida and Purdue and take it just to get the experience.
I mean, I think if the Gators I think if you were really, really ready to be a head coach and the Gators offered you, I think you would have to
Or
take
will
it.
Scott Strickland hire another?
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're kind of, I think he's kind of in the middle of.
No, I know. I thought you were
He
saying
might be the
if
guy.
Schumann, yeah. Well, I thought you were saying if I'm telling Schumann, I'm telling, yeah, you take that Gator job for sure. And I think he would too if he's ready.
If he's
If
that's the thing. How do we know?
yeah, that's what he's got to be.
And then is the
He's got to basically
university?
he's got to have his agent be like, hey, I'm ready to be a head coach. You
Yeah,
guys,
but then is the university willing to give another opportunity to a guy with not a lot of experience?
yeah, totally. That's what I'm
That's the
saying.
thing.
Gator fans, I'm telling you, he's never talked about, but I know what he's about, and I know
Yeah,
he's a good ass coach.
I think he shouldn't take the Kentucky job because I could see your boy being fired soon.
Yeah,
Uh, which I think it's crazy if he somehow wins 7-8 wins. That's Kentucky.
yeah.
Yeah, there's really no one else out there. Well, you know what? Let's talk about this in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Let's
that's what
not
I'm saying.
beat
That's what
our
I'm saying.
heads over.
Billy, come on, Billy, win some games, Billy. We
And
got
hey,
confidence in you,
he
Billy.
can win this week, as long as he don't win next week. I could care less.
Sun Belt Billy. He's coming
Sunbelt
for you.
Billy, hey boy,
He's coming for you.
Hard Rock is gonna be rocking next week.
It's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be
Going down there to
lit,
get that.
bro.
We want to get that upset win, baby.
I don't know about
Back
that.
to back upsets coming
Yeah, y'all
now.
better. Hey, let's focus on South Florida and LSU.
Exactly. Hey, I'm not playing the game.
Let's focus on that.
Yeah. All right, peoples. Appreciate the hour and a half staying with us. We went a little long today because we talked about some other stuff, and I had to
had to get a lot off.
I had to get my vent off. Since I hadn't talked about it publicly really in 4 days. So yeah, but like, appreciate the likes, the listens, share the podcast, talk some shit to
we
us.
need more instant reactions, man. Especially with you, people who know us know how you are after games.
Yeah.
People who watch and don't really know.
Like I say, you see what Dan and Jeff are doing. Those you were like, I don't have to wait till Monday anymore. They were doing instant swamp series.
Oh God, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
I loved it.
We're gonna be a bunch of clowns sitting in here next week.
Yep.
And Brian Kelly's gonna beat our ass. We're not even gonna be able to sit down, bro.
That's the thing, man. Great. Brian Kelly's probably the reason why you guys may win the game.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't think Billy needs to be fired. He thinks that's crazy.
I mean, what is an opposing coach supposed to say?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, I want that guy fired. Like, if you beat him, you're like, hey, give him an extension. His team looked good. They just lost.
Totally. I agree.
Yep.
All right, it's time to get our virtual game on, boys and girls. Me and Faro have been stewing for over a week on the virtual gridiron of NCAA 26.
I've been stewing?
Yeah, I have. I said me. You beat me in the national championship.
Yep.
With the Miami Hurricanes, took down those Florida Gators yet again. So I need to get. You didn't beat me in the first national championship. I just didn't make it. But you put me out in the playoffs. So yeah. So we've been stewing on this game, week 2 of the 2027 season. All right, man. I don't love my running backs, but yeah, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this next week. Can I get the dub against Faro in the virtual gridiron? Because he's got my number now, folks, and that's another thing I'm stewing and pissed about. I'm a loser.
Hey, the
Gators
Gators
suck.
can't look. They can't look good.
I need to
in
go back. I
real
need to go
life
back.
or
Go
virtual
back to this
life.
one. Gators suck. We're out of here. Hopefully, we'll beat some LSU this week. Hey, suck that Tiger. I'll just leave it at that. That's what Boo was saying. They're going to be singing that all night long. We're going to be on our knees. We're going to be on our knees.
Oh man! Wait till you hear you're watching the game and you're gonna hear the favorite thing.
Dun, dun.
It's nighttime in Death Valley.
That's right. All right, folks. We're going to pull the upset. Don't worry. Go Gators. For all you Gator lovers out there, for all the people who don't want to see us win, like Elle and Ricky and Steve Berg and all those other guys, good luck to y'all. We love you still. And we'll holler at y'all and we'll talk about it next week on the breakdown. Holler at your boys because we just love talking ball.